I want to talk with you today specifically about how to regulate your nervous system. Nervous system regulation has become somewhat of a buzzword over the last couple of months and years, and it describes the deeper process of stress management. So I'm super excited to educate and inform you a little bit more about nervous system regulation today and provide some specific tools for you as well on how you can start to regulate your nervous system. So I would say, let's get started. Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer, and I'm so excited that you're here today and that you want to learn about how to regulate your nervous system. This is such an important topic and I truly believe that everyone should know about it because we would see a lot less stress and a lot less burnout in the workplace. If you are here for the very first time, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here, and I invite you to check out any of the other over 400 videos that I have created and recorded for you over the last 4.5 years. I talk about stress management, productivity systems, and how to create a life that you love. So let's jump into how to regulate your nervous system. The first thing that you should know and that we need to talk about when you want to know more about how to regulate your nervous system is that there are two really important pieces to the nervous system. They are both part of the autonomic nervous system and they are called the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And what we're trying to gain is we're trying to have a balance between the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. And I want to talk with you about why that is so important, how you can regulate your nervous system, and why most of us nowadays are oftentimes in the sympathetic state and not in the parasympathetic state. Let me explain all that. So let's start from the very beginning and let's talk about the sympathetic nervous system. This is the nervous system that you probably have heard most about because it is also called the fight or flight response. So your sympathetic nervous system is responsible to keep you safe and to protect you from any kind of danger. So your nervous system is actually constantly scanning your environments for threats. And as soon as it recognizes something that's out of the ordinary or not something that you're used to, it triggers a little alert system in your system in order to say, hey, hold up, can we just take a look at that and be sure that this is safe for us? And so the sympathetic nervous system is triggered and is on. In prehistoric times, this part of your nervous system helped you survive. And because of that, it is the part that was handed over from generation to generation. So it is the gene that survived, the survival gene, right? It helped you to just stay alive. And that's why nowadays our sympathetic nervous system is as sensitive as it is today. In today's world, we don't really have the type of threats anymore that we had in prehistoric times. There's no saber-toothed tiger anymore that is running down the street and that is putting you in danger, and there's no elephant anymore that can step on you. All of these things are really eliminated, right? Our physical threats are not there anymore. However, because of how society evolved and how our nervous systems evolved, we are much more receptive to psychological threats. And the psychological threats that I'm talking about are things like receiving emails and getting pings and being in meetings and receiving notifications, because every time these things happen, your sympathetic nervous system clicks on and it's like, ooh, we need to pay attention to this, okay? So this is super important to understand, because when you are in the sympathetic state, all of your main bodily functions are reduced to minimum functionality. Your digestive system, your immune system, your cardiovascular system, your reproductive system. All of these systems in your body are reduced because your body is in survival state. It wants to help you survive. So it is not taking care of digesting your food, it is not taking care of reproducing, it is not taking care of your immune system. And that is why it is so important to engage your parasympathetic nervous system. So your parasympathetic nervous system is the counterpart to your sympathetic nervous system, and it is also called rest and digest or growth and repair. And so the parasympathetic nervous system, once that is engaged, helps you to bring all of your main bodily functions back into normal functionality. And it is really important, as you can maybe already tell, because if you are constantly in fight or flight, if you are constantly in sympathetic state and your parasympathetic nervous system doesn't have time to regulate, then you're going to start to get sick. You might start to have symptoms that your body is getting sick. Your immune system might be decreased, and so you're constantly getting colds, or you're constantly getting migraines and you have headaches, or you constantly have stomach aches and digestive issues. Those are all signs that you are too much in an aroused sympathetic nervous system state and you are not engaging your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is why we are talking about regulating your nervous system. Nervous system regulation, at the end of the day, is stress management, is managing your stress levels, but from a much more neuroscientific perspective, okay? So I already alluded to that, but what you need to know is that you are most of the time, most probably, in your sympathetic state, and you are not investing probably enough resources to regulate your nervous system. So let's talk about your parasympathetic nervous system, because I think we all know what the sympathetic nervous system is. We are all familiar with fight or flight, but we are not so familiar with how can I actually engage and regulate, okay? So let's talk about that. The parasympathetic nervous system is so important and it is so beautiful, and it can be engaged in 90 seconds alone, 90, okay? So if you take a couple of deep breaths, and that is one of the reasons why meditation and breath work and breathing techniques have become so popular over the last couple of years, it's because neuroscience has progressed and we have understood even more the importance of how the breath impacts our nervous system. Let me explain. When you are in the sympathetic state, your breathing gets shallow because you are starting to pay attention to the danger that's happening in your external environment, even though that danger is not a saber-toothed tiger, it's just an email that's coming in or a notification that's coming in, but it is putting your system in high alert anyway. And you might have experienced that when you are already having a super stressful day and then there is more and more phone calls and emails and notifications coming in. You feel stress by hearing the sounds or by hearing the notifications coming in, or by even just seeing the full inbox that you have. It puts you in sympathetic state. And when you're in that sympathetic state, your muscle tenses up and your blood pressure is rising and your breathing is getting shorter because it's literally getting you ready for fight or flight. It's getting you ready for attack mode. And even though you are not in real danger anymore, your system does not know the difference. And that is the most important thing that you need to understand. So that is why breathing is so important. 90 seconds can get you from a sympathetic state into a parasympathetic state. And again, I talked about this in my last video when we talked about self-confidence, but when we think about techniques to regulate our nervous system and we talk about breathing, you might be thinking, this is so boring and it's so simple. Of course I can breathe, but if it would be so easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would just take a moment multiple times throughout the day and regulate the nervous system by just taking a couple of mindful breaths. But what oftentimes happens when we are in that heightened, aroused nervous system state is that we are not paying attention to that. Our bodies and nervous systems are wired to just pay attention to the danger instead of thinking logically, which is also an important thing to say, because when you are in a aroused nervous system state, in your sympathetic nervous system state, then you can't really think logically anymore. You can't really think creatively anymore. You are just wired to protect yourself. And so if you want to be creative at work, if you want to feel really smart and intelligent, you have to operate out of a more regulated nervous system. And so the parasympathetic nervous system helps you to regulate and balance those two autonomic nervous system states. And there's many different ways on how to do that, and that is actually why I built the Peak Performance Method and why I started this YouTube channel. Because all of my videos actually talk in some sort of form about stress management and nervous system regulation. When we talk about self-care, meditation, when we talk about productivity systems and time management, it's all about helping your nervous system to regulate. Why? Well, there's a couple of different reasons. Number one, I can tell you to do these things. I can tell you to take care of yourself and practice self-care, but you're probably going to tell me, I don't know when to do that. I don't have time to do this. I'm so busy and I have so much work and there are so many things going on in my life. I don't have the time to do this. And so that is why I talk a lot about time and calendar management, because before you can get into regulating your nervous system state, you need to make sure that you have space to do that. And so time management is an integral part of stress management and nervous system regulation. The second reason why I want you to really, get into nervous system regulation and why we talk not just about self-care and also about these other things is because it's all interconnected. Everything is interconnected with each other in your body and in your mind and in your spirit and in your life. And so I can't just tell you, eat healthy, move your body, meditate twice a day, do some breath work, invest in yourself, talk to a counselor, a therapist or coach. All of these things will help you to regulate your nervous system. So it is actually a pretty simple theory, the nervous system regulation and the two nervous systems, but we haven't talked about it as much. So I'm super excited to finally educate you about the nervous system, and I hope you found this helpful. So I want to stop right here and I want to just have you digest the information that I just shared with you. Because once you just understand the fundamentals of nervous system regulation, then you can start going down kind of the rabbit hole of, okay, so now that I understand that I need to regulate my parasympathetic nervous system, because that is the system that requires a little bit more attention, then you can start to watch all of the other videos that are on my channel. And I already mentioned all of the different tools and things that you can do in order to start regulating that nervous system. So I'll just mention them again, just to make sure that you're really clear, and I'll make sure to show you a couple of thumbnails here as well of all of the different videos that can be helpful now for you to watch next in order to learn more specific tools and habits and routines to regulate your nervous system. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you watched it all the way to the end, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and leave us a comment down below for our community and let us know if you were already aware of these two concepts or if this is really new information and what you're planning to do to start regulating your nervous system. I'm excited to produce more content about this and to answer any questions that you might have, so don't hesitate to leave them down below as well. And that's all I wanted to share with you today. So thank you so much for watching the video today, and I hope to see you in one of the next ones. Take good care of yourself and talk to you soon.